From the Mount Clemens Racetrack, the fifth turn, this week in auto racing. Brought to you by the Mount Clemens Racetrack, Michigan's premier short track. Stan Yee's Collision, the auto repair center specializing in unibody repair. Your host, Jim Brandstatter. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the fifth turn, this week in auto racing. This week on the fifth turn, we'll be meeting with the only female driver in the Grand American division at the Mount Clemens Racetrack, along with a second look at the enduro auto racing. But first, the mini modified division is still a relatively new division at the Mount Clemens Racetrack, but in their short lifespan, the division has developed close friendships among the drivers. Close friendships in that they'll share spare parts in the pits and watch the race replays together. But once on the track, it's every man for himself. Rick, the word is that mini modified racing is the friendliest division out here. Would you classify that as being an accurate statement?
Yes, I would.
Why?
The people that we've been associated with for the past 6 years that I've been driving and 9 years that my brother and I have been involved in it, they have just been the friendliest people. Everybody willing to lend everybody else all their spare parts if they needed, and they're just fantastic people.
Why do you think that is when you've got the, say, Grand Americans that are a little bit more competitive in the sense that everything they do is kind of a secret and they're not willing to give a competitor an edge?
Well, I think it's because we're still trying to get the division to grow. We're still looking, you know, the Grand Americans, they're running all over every racetrack in the country just about. And we're not running that many racetracks, but yet we have a good division and the cars are very competitive. So we're just trying to help each other, you know, help ourselves out is what we're trying to do.
In the sense that it's a friendly division, that doesn't mean that it's not competitive out there on the track. Is that correct, too?
Oh, boy, that's true. Yeah, we're all friends until we get in our race cars. And then it's all competitors. I don't know who's in the other cars. I don't really care who's in the other car. I just try to beat them.
When you sit around afterwards and talk, is that when the real friendliness of this division comes out? You talk about the race, rehash it, go over the equipment, go over the kind of car you're building?
Oh, yeah. That's usually after the races we sit over here and we watch the replays and we harass each other if somebody made a mistake or if somebody bumped someone else, and or if something broke on someone's car. You know, we can see where it happened and what it did and all of that, and then we're always you know, we try and give everybody else a hand during the week if possible.
You said you're all waiting and want to see this division grow. Grow in what way and how?
Well, personally, I'd like to see it grow as the number of, you know, with the number of cars that we have come out every week. It could grow both ways as a relatively stacked division. We could come out with, you know, unibody cars and a low-cost, very low-cost division of racing, or we could go the exact opposite way and get into super fast technical cars that we have a couple of them that we're running with right now that are very technical cars to work on.
And yet mini modified still holds a certain attraction.
Oh yeah, it does. They're fun little cars.
Last Saturday, the Mini Mods held their mid-season championships. Here's some of the action from those races.
And wild action on lap number 1, but Ted Johnston, the early race leader, Ted Johnson out front now. Larry Lang moves up to second. Joe Danner running in third. Ted Johnston in the lead in car number 7. Larry Lang running in second, but he's being challenged by Harold Samuel in car number 28. Harold Samuel moves up to second now. Ted Johnson in the lead, followed by Harold Samuel. Now Bill Breen started last. He's up to third. Larry Lang running in fourth. Samuel moves to the outside of Ted Johnson. Harold Samuel, the new race leader in car number 28. Bill Breen follows him through. Harold Samuel and Bill Breen have broken away from the rest of the pack. They're going down the back straightaway. Bill Breen looks to the outside of Harold Samuel in turn 3 and 4. Can't do it there, but Bill Breen moving in to challenge Harold Samuel for the lead. Car 28, Harold Samuel, your race leader. Bill Breen challenging in car number 77. Harold Samuel trying to hold off Bill Breen. Bill Breen moves to the outside. Running in third, car number 9 is Eric Bambard. Ted Johnston back to fourth in car number 7. Your leaders are in traffic in turn number 4. Your front 3 cars, all contenders. Harold Samuel, Bill Breen, and Eric Bambard. Next time by, it'll be 10 laps in, 5 to go. Harold Samuel continuing to hold them off. Bill Breen trying every way he can to get by Harold Samuel for the lead. 5 laps remain. Harold Samuel trying to hold off Bill Breen and Eric Bambard for a few more laps. Bambard gets to the low side, a little too low, and he loses ground. Two laps to go. Bill Breen moves to the outside of Harold Samuel with 2 laps to go. He couldn't do it there, but Breen looking to challenge in car number 77. Harold Samuel tries to hold him off this time by the white flag will be out. We're on the last lap. And Bill Breen again tries the outside of Harold Samuel. They're in turns 1 and 2. Samuel asserts himself again and gets the lead back. Samuel trying to hold on to the checkered flag. Here they come to the finish line. It's going to be Harold Samuel, followed by Bill Breen and Eric Bambard, the top 3 finishers. And the rest of the field. And Larry Lang spins it out again. And gets it going. Gets the checkered flag. In the meantime, here's a man who earned that midseason championship feature event win from Almont in car number 28, Harold Samuel.
Coming up on the 5th turn, we'll visit with Patty Simcoe and see what she thinks about being the only female driver in the Grand American Division. Right now, though, let's look at the point standings following the midseason championships. When something like this happens by accident, come to Stan Yee's Collision for quality auto body repair and refinishing. Stan Yee's Collision will handle everything from the insurance claim to guaranteeing you 100% satisfaction on the repairs they do. Only the most advanced equipment is used, including the new bench fixture straightening system, especially useful for correcting damaged front-wheel drive unit body vehicles. When searching for an auto repair shop, look no further than Stan Yee's Collision.
The Mount Clemens Racetrack invites you to a summer of fun and excitement as it comes alive with the roaring engines and the fierce competition of stock car racing. Every Thursday and Saturday night at 7:30 p.m., Michigan's premier short track features racing from 5 championship divisions: the Grand American, Limited Sportsman, high-powered street stocks, mini modified, and the women's powder puffs. The green flag signals summer fun for everyone Thursday and Saturday nights at the Mount Clemens Racetrack, I-94 and the Mount Clemens exit.
Welcome back to the Fifth Turn. The Limited Sportsman Division always has exciting feature races on the Mount Clemens 00, but all the excitement isn't limited to just one race. Here's last Saturday's Australian Pursuit race.
Mark Riefert out front, and Ron Bjornsson goes underneath 2 cars, and Bjornsson takes over the lead. Dave Leduc following him through. The 2 cars out of it already. And 101 also out of it. Here comes your race leader, Ron Bjornsson, in 24. Ron Bjornsson in the lead, followed by Dave Leduc, Carl Schultz. A battle side by side between Paul Freeland and Ed DeGroot down the back straightaway. Then it's George Deacock and Roger Blackstock. And Carl Schultz moving up to challenge Dave Leduc for the number 2 spot. Schultz and Leduc side by side coming off turn number 2, and Dave Leduc eliminated now by Carl Schultz. Ron Bjornsson continues to lead, followed by Carl Schultz, Paul Freeland, and Ed DeGroot, George Deacock. Still out front in car 24, followed by Carl Schultz in 44. Ed DeGroot looks to the low side of Paul Freeland going into turn 3. Couldn't do it there, but they stay right together. Back to the front straightaway. Close bumper-to-bumper racing. Anybody can challenge at any time, but afraid they might lose position. They stay in line this time around. Carl Schultz closing out on race leader Ron Bjornsson. Schultz drops to the low side down the front straightaway. Schultz challenging for the lead. Carl Schultz made a quick move to the low side, and he eliminates Ron Bjornsson. Bjornsson out of it. So Carl Schultz out front in 44. Paul Freeland running in second, followed by Ed DeGroot and George Deacock. Roger Blackstock also still in contention. DeGroot moves to the low side of Paul Freeland for the number 2 spot in turn number 1. In turn number 2, George Deacock drops in as well. Now there are just 4 cars left. 4 cars left. Carl Schultz, Ed DeGroot, George Deacock, and Roger Blackstock. Bumper to bumper as Ed DeGroot looked to the low side of Carl Schultz, that time in turn 1 and 2. Couldn't do it there. Again, Ed DeGroot looks and tries to find a way around, dives to the low side in turn number 4. Couldn't do it again. 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go, and they are bumper to bumper once again. Still anybody's race. The next time by, they're going to be getting the white flag. That'll indicate just 1 lap to go. And Carl Schultz trying to hold out. George Deacock looks to the low side of Ed DeGroot. Couldn't do it there. Deacock still trying to find a way around. The white flag's out. We've got 1 lap to go. Carl Schultz trying to hold off Ed DeGroot. and he does in turns 1 and 2. George Deacock running in third, fourth, Roger Blackstock. They're heading for the checkered flag. This time they're in the final set of turns. Carl Schultz trying to hold on to this one, but Ed DeGroot right there as they come down to the start-finish line. The checkered flag out. It's going to be Carl Schultz, followed by Ed DeGroot, George Deacock, and Roger Blackstock. Blackstock looking real strong tonight, finishing fourth in that.
You remember the old television series Car 54, Where Are You? Well, if you're at Mount Clemens Racetrack, Car 54 in the Grand American Division will probably be near the front. That's because it's driven by Patty Simcoe, the fastest lady in Mount Clemens, who went from Powder Puff to Grand American and is standing some people on their ears.
Can it be possible for Patty Simcoe to take the checkered flag? Metapelican moves in again. Backs off. Larry LeMay moves in along. Metapelican coming to the checkered flag. It's going to be Patty Simcoe. As she comes down to take her checkered flag, she earned this one in car number 54, Patty Simcoe. And here she is in car number 54, Patty Simcoe. She got a big smile on her face. How about that?
Patty, you're really kind of an amazing story in that you came from Powder Puff and then went right to the Grand American. Tell me how that all went.
Just one day my dad said, you know, he'd let me move up. And I said, thanks. I got in the car and went.
Did you want to move up? Did you want to get to the Grand American, the real fast cars?
Oh, yes, very much so. Powder Puff, you really can't go nowhere, you know. Grand American, you got a better chance at learning how to race. You know, you go faster, better competition, it's fun.
What was the most difficult transition for you, going from the Powder Puff to the Grand American?
It was just the speed. The speed's just a lot faster. And the handling of the car. The handling of the car is like going from a Volkswagen to a Cadillac. It's just beautiful.
What about the other drivers? Are they a little tougher on you because you're a female?
Most of them aren't. Most of them treat me really good.
Did you find it was difficult your first couple races before they accepted you?
No, not really. So a lot of drivers would come up and say, you know, congratulations for running and stuff like that, which really surprised me. I never expected it.
Do you think that you earned their respect because of the way you've driven, and you have driven extremely well?
Yeah. It's not, you know, it's not like a matter of a woman or a man. It's whether you're a good driver or not. That's the way I think people should look at it.
What is your goals as a driver? What would you like to do ultimately? You like to stay in the Grand American? Would you like to get a shot at maybe the Grand Old Boys down in NASCAR?
I'd love to go to NASCAR. I think that would be a treat in itself. It'd be fun.
The Street Stackers competition is always at the highest level it can be, making them a real crowd pleaser. Last Saturday's race was no exception. Let's take a look.
Ken Humpert and Jim Hoole side by side in row number 1. Then it's John Fowl and Steve Hebert running third and fourth. Steve Kioski and Gary Kimball also running side by side. Excuse me, Randy Kimball in car number 23. And a tightly bunched field goes through turns 1 and 2. John Fowl lost a few positions that time. Ken Humpert still out front and showing the way around. Jim Hoole, Steve Hebert, and Steve Kioski all bunched up behind him. Your attention, please. Larry LeMay to your truck. Larry LeMay to your truck, please. Ken Humpert out front in car number 70. Steve Hebert trying to move up past Jim Hoole for the number 2 spot. Steve Hebert up to the number 2 spot. Steve Kioski also fighting his way up. Look at the pack and four come off turn 4. Back into bumper-to-bumper race now. Steve Kioski moves to the inside of Steve Hebert on the back straightaway. Steve Kioski and Steve Hebert side by side for the number 2 spot. Ken Humphrey, your race leader, continuing in car number 70, and a spin out in turn number 4, and a car hits him. Car 19 hit him in the 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go as Jim Hoole's car sits down there in turn number 4. Car number 19 putting moisture on the high side, and he's going to stop it on the front straightaway. Overheating, the caution flag comes out.
The safety crew quickly got to work and cleared things up during the yellow flag, and then it was back to racing.
2 laps remain, and the green flag out once again. Steve Kioski moves to the outside and couldn't do anything there. Steve Hebert right behind him makes some contact, and Steve Kioski drops to the infield. He collects it and is going to get it going again. The white flag's out. We're on the final lap. Ken Humphrey out front, Steve Hebert running in second. Then it's John Fow and Randy Kimball coming around. They're going to be taking the checkered flag, and the winner is going to be Ken Humphrey, followed by Steve Hebert, John Fow, and Randy Kimball. And it sounds like Ken has some fans here tonight, so as he comes around to collect his checker flag, you want to make sure that you let him know that he won our 4th heat race for the Stroh Street Stocks. There he is in car number 70, Ken Humphrey.
Enduro Auto Racing makes its 2nd appearance of this season at the Mount Clemens Racetrack on Sunday. When we come back, we'll give you a quick refresher course on the Enduro.
The Mount Clemens Racetrack invites you to a summer of fun and excitement as it comes alive with the roaring engines and the fierce competition of stock car racing. Every Thursday and Saturday night at 7:30 p.m., Michigan's premier short track features racing from 5 championship divisions: the Grand American, Limited Sportsman, High-Powered Street Stocks, Mini Modified, and the Women's Powder Puffs. The green flag signals summer fun for everyone Thursday and Saturday nights at the Mount Clemens Racetrack, I-94 and the Mount Clemens exit.
When something like this happens by accident, come to Stan Yee's Collision for quality auto body repair and refinishing. Stan Yee's Collision will handle everything from the insurance claim to guaranteeing you 100% satisfaction on the repairs they do. Only the most advanced equipment is used, including the new bench fixture straightening system, especially useful for correcting damaged front-wheel drive unit body vehicles. When searching for an auto repair shop, look no further than Stan Yee's Collision.
Railroad crossing signals are designed to save lives. Understand this. A 40-ton locomotive traveling at just 30 miles per hour needs a half mile to stop. An automobile can stop a lot quicker. Each year, some 870 persons die nationwide in car-train accidents. 30 of those persons die in Michigan alone. Drivers must do their part. Look, listen, and live.
Around the world in auto racing this week, Michigan International Speedway was the site of one of the best IndyCar finishes in history. Mario Andretti and his Lola edged Tom Sneva by just 14/100ths of a second to win the Michigan 500. It was the closest finish in the history of IndyCar racing. The race was marred by numerous high-speed crashes, with the most serious injury to Chip Ganassi. On the NASCAR circuit, it was Harry Gant changing his bad luck to good luck at the Pocono 500. Gant, who had been close but always missed this year, put it all together and edged Cale Yarborough for the checkered flag in his Skoal Bandit. And on the Formula One circuit, Niki Lauda won the English Grand Prix in his McLaren. It was another race marred by numerous accidents, but Lauda survived the Brands Hatch course to win it, and the victory moved him to 2nd place in the drivers' point standings. He is just behind his teammate Alain Prost, who leads in the points, and it clearly shows the dominance of the turbocharged Porsche McLarens this season. Well, the Mount Clemens Racetrack is giving you, the grandstand racer, a chance to show what you can do behind the wheel of a racing machine. Enduro Auto Racing, strictly for the amateur driver, gives anyone who wants to race a chance to see what they can do for 250 laps. Here's the promoter of the Delaware racetrack in Ontario with the specifics regarding enduro auto racing.
The endurance race, basically, which we started a couple of years ago, is meant for a novice type fellas, people that sit on the hill week after week and really would like to get out there but don't have the experience or the dollars basically get into a race car. So we come up with this novel idea of getting a whole bunch of cars together and getting them out on a racetrack, and away we go. And basically the rules of the game are very simple. It's a 108-inch wheelbase car. The bigger the better, actually, because there is no rules as far as bumping or pushing or anything of that nature. So the mid-range type car is about the best to use. And they have to be basically off the street type cars and no modifications to suspension, engine modifications, or anything of that nature. So 250 laps later, we have a winner. So it's a lot of fun, and we've noticed that, especially this year, that the fellas that ran in endurance last year have become our street stock racers. And of course, maybe these are the AJ Foyts of the future, who knows, but at least it gives them a chance to get out and really go at it. I was in the first one, and due to the amount of entries that we've had, I don't want to take somebody else's spot away, and it's just fantastic. You know, if you really want to get behind the wheel of a car and see what you can do with it, why, this is what to do.
What was your biggest thrill during that race you were in?
Well, I'll tell you, the biggest thrill was the 50 ahead of you and the 50 behind you, and when the green flag dropped, you didn't know where nobody was going, and the thing was is just to kind of keep out of trouble and keep sailing along. And it was really something. It was fantastic. It's just like driving on 401 in Toronto, you know, or Detroit, you know. It's really something.
Well, that'll do it for another week here at the Fifth Turn. Next week, we'll talk with a street stocker who has a very unusual occupation and take a look at the Mount Clemens Racetrack safety crew. This week at the track, though, don't forget the Old Milwaukee 100, a twin 50-lap race that will make its seasonal appearance. And, of course, the Enduro is on Sunday. So until then, have a great week, and we'll see you next time right here on the Fifth Turn, this week in auto racing. Be with us next week on the Fifth Turn, this week in auto racing. Brought to you by the Mount Clemens Racetrack, Michigan's premier short track. Stan Yee's Collision, the auto body center specializing in unibody repair.